Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are checking out this channel for the very first time, you definitely want to subscribe because I make some of the best videos that you guys will see on the modeling industry. So in this video, I want to talk about how you can go from being just a model to becoming a supermodel in under a year. So let's get to it. All right, so before I dive into this video, let me just preface by saying that your chances of becoming a supermodel is very slim. It's not impossible. And if your goal is not to become a supermodel, maybe you just want to be a working model, make a living off of that, that's completely fine. Not every model needs to be a supermodel and not every model is going to become a supermodel. But if you have the desire, the passion, the will, the drive, everything that you need to become a supermodel, then this video is for you. And if you're just curious, stick around, this video is also for you. So let's talk about what it takes to get that supermodel status and how you guys can get there in under a year. So first of all, you have to be young, unfortunately, to become a supermodel, because if you look at supermodels right now, their careers pretty much got started at their younger ages, and then maybe they had sustained success over a prolonged period of time, like Naomi Campbell, for example. So you have to be young. When I say young, I'm talking about anywhere from the age of 15 to about 24, 25, maybe 26 if you're pushing it. It's a little bit of a late start to get your career started, especially if you're a female. But you have to be young, you have to be fit. Of course, you have to meet the model requirements for a runway model and for an editorial model. And as I've mentioned several times on this channel, the requirements for being a runway model are a little bit more strict than the requirements for being just a commercial print model, for example. So if you want to do runway editorial, the requirements are really strict. You have to be obviously tall, you have to meet the height requirements. You have to have, if you're a guy, you have to have certain body fat percentage. If you're a female, you have to have specific measurements that is acceptable throughout the high fashion industry. So if you guys know what that is, take a look at those. And if you meet the requirements and you're young, you're fit, you have the drive, and you have the looks, obviously, then there's a chance that you could be on that trajectory of a supermodel. Okay, so here's what it's gonna take to become a supermodel if you meet those requirements that I just mentioned. One, you have to have a passport and you have to be able to travel and get a visa to pretty much anywhere in the world, right? The reason that it's very important is because you're going to be traveling a lot on your routes to becoming a supermodel. You're going to be getting jobs all over the world, shooting campaigns everywhere, and you don't want to be limited by maybe not being able to get a visa into certain countries or what have you. So definitely want to have a passport and have the ability to get a work visa or get a visitation visa or whatever it is, pretty much anywhere in the world. The next thing you're going to need is that you're going to need representation in at least 3 of the major fashion capitals. And if you don't know what those are, the fashion capitals of the world are New York, Milan, Paris, London. You need to have representation with top tier agencies in at least 3 of these fashion capitals. Now you can also get signed to a mother agency in one of these fashion capitals, and that mother agency can push you and network with other agencies around the world to get you represented, so that way you're seeing clients and you're getting bookings from some of these other fashion capitals. But if you don't have a mother agency, then unfortunately you're going to have to travel on your own. You're going to have to seek representation in these markets, and the European market is quite different from the market in America, right? So for example, in Milan, the measurements are a lot more stricter than in the United States. They like their models a lot skinnier, a lot leaner. So keep this in mind as you're seeking representation. I've talked about Tyra Banks on this channel when she went to Europe and they told her that she was too big to become a model, pretty much, right? But then she modeled there for a little bit, then she came back to the United States, her career took off, she became a supermodel. So take this into consideration as you seek representation in some of these other fashion capitals. Now, my next tip from taking your career to just being a model to becoming a supermodel is to eliminate distractions, right? So you're represented in at least 3 of the 4 major capitals. You're going to have to eliminate distractions because you're going to be so busy. You're going to be working, going on go-sees, going on castings, booking, shows left and right. And you don't want anything distracting you from your career. You have to have a Mamba-like mentality, a Mamba-like focus into becoming a supermodel. So that means, no school, unfortunately, because you don't want your schedule to be filled up with classes. So it's best if you put school aside, and I honestly wouldn't give that advice for anyone who's just hoping to become a model and make some income, because obviously school is very important. But if you have the potential and the career trajectory to become a supermodel, then this is something that you seriously have to consider. You seriously have to consider putting school on pause and pursuing your career aggressively. Next, you have to drop any kind of side jobs that you may have. I know a lot of models also wait at restaurants, or they also work at a boutique or something like that, or a clothing store. Set any other jobs that you have to the side and give modeling your 100% focus for a year and see what happens. And you may have to eliminate relationships that take up too much of your time, whether that's family, whether that's a close friend or a romantic partner. You want to be mindful of this because you want to stay focused on your career and you don't want anything distracting you from this. So giving it your all, traveling, and as you travel all through Europe doing different shows, you're going to be alone most of the time. You're going to be staying in model housing or hotels and apartments, and you're going to be by yourself moving. You're never going to feel grounded in one city as a supermodel. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. The next tip for becoming a supermodel is to party. And when I say party, I mean party responsibly. The reason I say party is because in the fashion industry, there are always parties, and the parties are honestly really fun. There are always parties. It's like, there's always nightlife and activities and things. You get invited as a model to come to special dinners, to come to parties, to come to launches, etc. And this is really a good opportunity for you as a model to network, to get your face in front of clients, in front of designers, photographers, agents, what have you, because the more they see you and the more they get to know your personality, the more they want to work with you, right? But when I say party responsibly, this is really important. Party responsibly means if you get invited out into an industry party, not having more than 2 drinks in the night, leaving early from the party and not doing anything that might be perceived as promiscuous, right? So this is what I mean by party responsibly. You don't want the clients or agents or people in the industry to see you in a negative light or to start, chatting behind your back, right? So be mindful of this. You do want to party as a model because it's a great networking opportunity. It's a great way for people to get to know you personally and have the desire to want to work with you, but don't abuse it, don't overdo it because it could be dangerous as well. And then my last tip is to be selective of the types of work that you do. You don't want to do free work, you don't want to do cheap work, you don't want to work for just any brand that's going to cheapen your own personal brand. For example, you would never see Naomi Campbell or any supermodel doing an ad for, I don't know, Kohl's or Target or Walmart or something like that, right? Because that cheapens their brand. Try to stick to high profile clients, top tier designers. And this is a conversation that you should have with your management, with your agency. Tell them your desires, like, hey, this is how I want the industry to see me. This is where I want to be as a model. This is the career trajectory I'm aiming towards. And so that way they can sort of like focus you and make sure you're in the right market for shooting those high fashion ads that you desire. So these are my tips on how you can become a supermodel in a year. Obviously, it's gonna take a lot of hard work, some good luck, a lot of dedication, focus. And if you guys like this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. Drop a comment below if you have more questions. I do offer model consultations on my website. The link is somewhere in the description box as well. Don't forget to sub if you're watching for the first time. I'll see you guys in my next one.